So in this video I want to break down 3 consecutive trades that I did pretty recently in the market and show you how I locked in about £75 worth of profit in around about 15 minutes, trade after trade after trade. Now I just want to point out before we jump into trade number 1, I don't really know a great deal about the sport of horse racing myself. So there's 2 different types of trading that you can do when you're in the markets, at least from pre-off horse racing trading. Number 1 is creating some form of mathematical model to tell you what the price should be, and if you get a discrepancy which is working in your favour, you place a bet and you hope the maths averages out over the long term for you. Or the second way, which by the way I don't use the first way, I'm not that mathematically inclined, but the second way is actually more simple in my opinion, and the second way is actually more about reading how human beings are going to act before they act. So it comes into like cognitive biases and mental flaws and shortcuts which people try and take, which in horse racing markets and in markets in general, whether it be financial or on Betfair or whatever, that kind of way of thinking leads people into trouble, and you can capitalize on it and make profits. So I trade order flow and I trade what I see on screen and the bets coming into the market. I don't know a great deal about the sport of horse racing, and I'm certainly not using a lot of complicated mathematical models to tell me what I should be doing. But anyway, let's jump into trade number 1 and I want to show you exactly how I made my first profit in this 15-minute period. Okay, so on this first market that I want to show you, within this 15-minute period that I was trading, can you see the favourite is priced at about 2.16 and it's in a tight traded volume range? And when I was trading this, I was noticing backing on the runner. So can you see, if you look at it, can you see how you can kind of keep seeing backing there? And what you want to see is the traded volume range is at the best back prices to continually increase. And can you see how that's happening? And you can see the price is pushing down. So what I'm doing is I'm just backing the runner with a £200 stake because I expect the price is going to come crashing down past the crossover point, which is odds of 2, which is highlighted in yellow. So I've offset my bets in £20 increments going down the ladder. And can you see on the left hand side of the ladder, each time the price gets lower, my green zone, as it is going to get bigger and bigger, and therefore I'm going to make more and more profit. So I'm just pulling some of these £20 down, and by the way, these £20 are just there to offset me. So each time they get filled, that green zone along the left hand side of the ladder, which we touched on, will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and therefore if the price ends up going against me at any point for any reason, I won't head into the red, as my green zone will get larger and larger. And you'll see what I mean as the price breaks through odds of 2 in just a second. We also want to see a drift on another runner, which you can see ahead of fashion is moving up in price on the 4th ladder. So if that one keeps going up, this one's going to keep coming down. And big spike there, and boom, can you see that? It's absolutely gone flying through that sticky point at odds of 2, which is highlighted in the column in yellow or orange. And we're right in this move now. You can see the price has been back down on this runner. I've put my offset positions in, and can you see how that green zone's got bigger and bigger and bigger with each move that the price took out? You can see the 4th favourite ahead of fashion did indeed drift out, which is good, it's what we wanted. And now we're getting a sticky point here at 1.8. So if the price refuses to go any further than 1.8, then I'll hedge the position and I'll run away with about 20 quid of profit from backing the favourite. Yeah, you can see just hedge the position right there, and we've walked away with £23 of profit from backing that favourite at the higher price and then laying it at the lower price, just because we could see that gamble was starting to develop. You can see I didn't use any form of complicated mathematical model or anything like that. I was just looking at the market and seeing that people were backing the favourite, and I expected as that started to grow arms and legs and people started to fear missing out, it would significantly push the price down. And we also had the 4th ladder, the 4th runner, the 4th ladder, which was drifting, and we had that nice counteraction between the 2. Now you might be wondering how this feels so second nature to me, and it's because I've been doing it a long time and because I understand what I'm looking at. And if you want to get to that point and you're sick of going through that tricky period where you're not entirely sure what you're doing and whether you're doing things that are right or you're just getting lucky or maybe it's wrong, and you want a blueprint and you want to know how to make money from a specific strategy so you can just focus your energy and just focus your attention on that one specific thing, and I've developed that and I've packaged it together within my training program. And if you want to take that training program and you want me to help you make money on a consistent basis from the markets using one simple strategy, whilst disregarding everything else which is going to confuse you, then check out the link which is down below in the video description. I've had loads and loads of people who've taken that training and have started making money out the markets with each month that goes by, and they've been really happy with what that training's provided with them. So toot my own trumpet a little bit there, but if you do want to check it out and you want me to help you out in the markets, then check out the link which is down below in the description of this video. Okay, so looking at this next market now, this one's at Haydock and this is the next market that I traded. It's a Group 3 race, and there's two runners which are getting quite a bit back in support. Can you see the first ladder, Shahar, getting back in support, and the second one, Estrange, is slowly getting back in support, and I can see that a gamble looks to me like it's starting to develop on this one. Because the first one's come in so far, I wouldn't expect that one to go so much further, because obviously it's becoming less and less valuable as the price decreases, but the second's hardly even moved from its top price. So you can see I'm backing it there at odds of 3, which is the crossover point. And you'll find this is a sticky point, and if the market keeps pushing down, it'll really fly through this crossover point in a lot of instances, like you saw in that last example where the crossover point was odds of 2. By the way, the crossover is called the crossover because the incremental differences going up versus going down are different. So you can see it's going up in 305, 3.1, and then going down, it's going down in 0.2. So going down 0.2, going up 0.5, going off on a little bit of a tangent, but can you see how the support's starting to come on this runner now, and it's broken through that crossover. Once again, I've got my offset positions along the left-hand side of the ladder, the lay side of the ladder, and each time those get touched, that green zone, also on the left-hand side, will get bigger, and therefore my red zone will get further up the ladder, and my likelihood for a loss will decrease and get shorter and shorter and shorter. Getting stuck at this point here. Now ideally at this point you would want to see a counteraction with something, ideally at similar or closely similar odds, if you know what I mean. So the closest odds price you've got is the favourite Shahar. Now if that one drifts back up, which is pretty likely because it's been coming down for a long period of time, that will help push this runner that we're trading down, because the overround and the book value always equals 100%. So if something's going up, something's going to have to go down. And the clearest way to see that, and the best interaction with that rather, is if you've got two runners at similar prices, and that really has a nice impact quite a lot of the time. And you can see the second favourite, Estrange, the one we're trading, we've got our positions in, that clearly wants to get back in support. You can see it keeps pushing down, but it's just not being helped by the fact that there's still backing on the first favourite. So can you see how some of those orders are getting touched, just pulling a few of them down. Got a nice spike there pushing the price down. Yeah, and can you see the favourite? That's also getting back in support as well. So if the favourite's getting back in support and our runner is also getting back in support, it's not ideal when they're both at similar prices, and something's got to give. They both generally can't come down to the degree that we want them to, or we want our runner to, because it's going to impact the overround too much and the book value. So unfortunately, our runner looks like it's starting to get stuck at this point here, getting stuck at about 15 to 17 pounds of profit. And you can see in the recording right there, I've just clicked hedge on my keyboard, or the shortcut that I've set up which hedges, and once that gets taken, you can see that's the position locked in, and we've made £15.50, yeah, £15.50 from trading, and that was the same process again as the last trade. Back in the favourite, we could see support on it. It was at that sticky point, and once it broke that point, we could see, or we knew, or I knew, that the price would likely come flying down even further. But because of the first favourite, that really didn't go as smoothly as we wanted and as far as we wanted. But we still made a profit, and we still traded that really sensibly and made a nice profit from it. Now as well, with those offset bots where my green zone gets extended along the ladder, if you want to download them and use them yourself with your trading software, then check out the link. I've got a second link in the description. You can download those for free, plug it into your software, providing you're using BetAngel, and then with one click on your keyboard and on your mouse, it will offset your net exposure on the other side of the market relative to which side you're in, and then that will offset you with each step of the way that you go down the ladder, instead of having to do loads of brain activity when you're watching all these different ladders and watching whether your runner's still getting back in support, and so on and so on and so on. This will just make things a little bit easier, and a lot of people have been really impressed with this particular bot file that I've created. So it's free, the link's in the description, check it out and download it for your own trading. Alright, so looking at this next market that I want to show you, market 3 of 3 in this video. This time it's a maiden hurdle at Listowel. The problem is with this one, if you look at the top left hand corner, can you see how there's about £25,000, just under 25k, traded in this market, which is, by the way, absolutely terrible, and you wouldn't want to put any real money in this market because you're going to have no control over what you're doing. It's just going to yo-yo all over the place because it's just so thin. There's such little amount of money in the market. But when I was watching this and when I was doing this trade, the previous race had just finished. So what happens is everyone watches the previous race. Once it finishes and once they know who won and who placed and whether the bet won and all that, they jump into the next market. So I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking a low volume gamble potentially on the favourite is going to push the price down to like odds of 2.2, 2.1, and you can see it's already started occurring with those red bars in the traded volume range. Can you see how the pattern is for those to come down? Now the price has just moved from what was it, 2.6-ish down to 2.2 in a matter of seconds, and this just shows you that human beings are just kind of just all following each other all the time. It's all, like I touched on before, it's like cognitive biases which push the market around, and people think they're missing out on things, and because other people backed it, that makes them want to back it, and people think they're missing out. People think other people know things that they don't know, and it just creates this kind of thing where the market just goes absolutely crazy. Now with this setup where there's very little volume in the market, I actually prefer to sort of, and lots of big bets coming in there in the market, and like I said, people chasing the price around, following what other people are doing, jumping all over each other. But yeah, like I was saying, I tend to want to see what happens in these markets because they're low volume, and then just go against it. So quite often with these, price just goes absolutely crazy, and then it just bounces back like a catapult, and everyone who's backing and freaking out and chasing the price around quickly hedges, and that forces the smarter people to hedge when the price starts moving back up, and before you know it, you get a yo-yo effect where the price moves back. So you've got to try and find where the bottom is, or at least that's what I'm doing with this trade. And because we're near a crossover point at odds of 2, which is highlighted in orange, I expect that this is roughly the point where the price will catapult back. And if those big bets at 2.18 disappear, that's going to be the roadblock which sets the trend off. So we're keeping our eye on 2.18. If that 1600 quid gets gobbled up by a lay better, the move's going to be on and I'll be entering my position. It just needs to get to that point, and then we'll see whether the hypothesis is correct. Here we go. I'm taking some of the money. Yeah, there you go. Can you see? And now you'll expect the yo-yo effect where everyone, the newbie traders and everyone who's chased it round and had the brain farts following everybody else, is going to get a bit of clarity and realise that they've got themselves in a little bit of a mess, and they're going to hedge. They're going to do that by laying. More people laying than backing, it's going to push the price out. And because there was more people backing than laying earlier on, that's going to have to balance out. So I've got my offset bets in along the right hand side of the ladder this time because I've placed a lay bet first, and each time they get touched, the green zone is going to get a little bit bigger along the left hand side, which makes my red zone move further and further away. Becomes less and less likely that we'll take a loss. We're not going to take a loss on this one anyway, are we? So I've just cancelled those bets, popped them back in. I got £200 left. I believe I used a £400 lay bet on this one. We just want to see those next batch of £20 going up the ladder on the back side get touched, and we'll just keep creeping up and keep making more and more money each time that happens. almost run out of time though. We're right at 0 seconds on the clock. So obviously you're going to have to get rid of your position, which I've done there, and you can see I've hedged the position and I've locked in round about £36 of profit. And if you look, the price has actually ended up finishing up where it just pretty much started 4 minutes earlier, and you can see how the market is just completely inefficient. The market swung down towards of evens from 2.6. The percentage difference in chance that that horse is going to win the race has changed dramatically, and then it's regressed back to where it started. So that is your edge, and that is my edge when I'm trading in these markets. But yeah, check out my training program using the link in the video description. Have a look at it, see if that's something that you want to use yourself to start making money out of the market. And next up, if you want to learn more about this phenomenon and learn more about what I'm doing by chasing people's emotions or reacting people's emotions, then you really need to check out this video. It's coming up on screen now, and that will explain exactly my thought process and the 2 things that I look for with my trading. It's more simple than what you think, and it makes more money than what you would think as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.